Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. Chris Holman here, coming to you from our studios at the Capital Region International Airport. And we're going to run down to the Detroit area right now, spend a little time with Rachel Stewart. And Rachel, of course, is the president and chief bottle washer at GW Design Studios in Auburn Hills. Isn't that the truth, though? As a small business person, I mean, you do what needs to be done, right?
No, I mean, it's a family business. I might be driving trucks tomorrow. You never know.
So let's
stay
talk
off the roads.
You know what? Let's talk a little bit about that. But first, before we get there, we met when Jennifer Granholm, Department of Energy Secretary, was in town, and we both have a connection with her. Tell us about your connection.
Sure. I was, before I returned to our family business, I was a official at the U.S. Department of Energy, which she is now the secretary of. So we worked on I thought it was a really fun project to drive down the price of installed solar energy to the price of coal by 2020. We came out with it in probably 2010, 2011. And at the time we're crazy, but turns out we actually beat that goal. So, like aggressive technical goals. And I think she's no stranger to that. So I wanted to see what she was up to.
She's absolutely not. And two really bright women in charge of that. It's no surprise you got done early. All right, let's hear a little bit about GW, which is Gardner-White Design Studio. Tell me a little bit about maybe the genesis of that and its evolution.
Sure. Gardner-White is I'm fourth generation, so family owned and operated furniture and mattress retailer in Southeast Michigan. We really operate in two large markets, or at least two medium markets is sort of how we look at it. The greater Detroit market and Saginaw. We're really, I think now it's an interesting moment. We are the only sort of large scale furniture retailer who is locally owned and operated, which is, I think, a really unique point for our industry. And I think, sort of has a lot of implications for how we do business and how the market evolves.
So it's not only furniture though, but you do a lot of design work. So
we do design work. I mean, I think our big focus is on two things. One, on when you look on furniture, I think it needs to be approachable on how people live. So we have really beautiful product, but it's also just practical for your life. So we've done a ton, for example, with performance fabrics. Now you can buy a ton of white sofas, but you can also spill things on them and wipe them right back up. And we try to be like, we've always been an innovator on motion furniture. So the old recliners now that look really great don't look like, your father or grandfather's recliner. So we try to make things both beautiful and practical is I would say our sweet spot. And I would say on the performance fabric, another great Detroit company is one of the big ones there. We work a lot with Krypton Fabrics, also founded here.
Yeah, I think the more and more we cover Detroit business, which actually is our largest market for viewership, the more and more the rest of the state realizes how much we actually do in the Southeast sector. You know what I mean? It's
in all sectors, it's just different strengths in different regions. That's the nature of a statewide economy.
So when you talk about furniture now, are you a furniture dealer? Do you have suppliers? Do you make the furniture? How does that go?
We are purely a retailer. And I think part of the reason that we've been around so long, I'm now again fourth generation, is that I think it's really important to know your strengths and your weaknesses. And I think manufacturing and retailing are very different skill sets. So I think it's, we know our lane and we will stay in it. But we work with some great suppliers who are great manufacturers.
All right. So who originally started it? You said it was like a grandfather?
It's my great-grandfather.
Great-grandfather.
Yep.
Wow, that's a long time. Plaudits to that. There aren't a lot of people. It's interesting because it's usually that third generation when family businesses start to fail. Yeah.
South. Yeah. We should have been out of business a few generations ago. So
are we looking at a fifth generation here?
Well, we have a fifth generation, but I think they need to learn to read before we worry about their career prospects.
That would be good. Although they can still move furniture at that young age.
Yeah, it seems like a pre-walk. My line on family business is always, my background, I've worked for, in some way 2 U.S. presidents, and working with your parents is harder. So it's not.
Yeah. Family businesses do have their own issues. Rachel, let me ask you something. Are you the first woman to be CEO there at Gardner-White?
So we're not big on titles, but my mother's been involved for more almost 45 years as well. So she and my dad have worked here. So I work with both parents.
Gotcha.
But we are unique we're very unique in our sector.
Yeah. Well, it is. That's another thing. It's difficult for spouses to remain married when they work together. That's
they could write a book too.
I bet they could. Yeah.
Great education as a kid, because every conversation ends up at your dinner table.
Well, that's true. There's no separation between the business and family at that point. Rachel, tell me what are the plans for GW in the future?
I think, like anything, we'll keep growing, and we've learned a lot about how this market has evolved. And I think it's really smart to grow, but in a sort of very smart, strategic, deliberate way with an eye towards sustainability. So, we have a while till the fish generation. So I'd like to keep it growing, but it needs to be there for them. So we'll do it thoughtfully.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's admirable what you've accomplished just staying in business this long, but the fact that you're, in the forefront of your industry is certainly congratulatory. I'm glad I ran into you.
Likewise. Thanks so much, Chris. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Good to have you with us. Rachel Stewart, president of Gardner-White GW Design Studios in Auburn Hills, Michigan. You've been watching the Michigan Business Beat on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman. We'll be right back.